This is the Scorecard, where you score the latest sports news and in-depth views. I'm Anton Roxas. On the Scorecard tonight, Gilas lives to fight another day. Brownlee vows fire still burning for Asia Cup quarters. Napolis fights to the finish, falls just short against Korean Jiu-Jitsu star. Ichiro immortalized, Mariners honor legend, keep winning streak alive with sweep of Rays. Meanwhile, seized deals, Padres' bullpen slams the door. San Diego wins 6-2 over Boston. In the WNBA, sparks ignite in Thriller. Takedown storm in front of 12,000 fans. Hambys' heroics seal 93-91 win. And joining us tonight live in the BNC studio is PBL standout setter Iris Tolinada of the Capital One Solar Spikers. All the headlines and more on the Scorecard tonight, the 11th of August. Now, here's our roundup. Gilas Pilipinas just kept their FIBA Asia Cup dream alive, and Justin Brownlee is promising the best is yet to come. Gilas Pilipinas is still in the hunt for glory after breaking through with a gritty 66-57 win over Iraq, keeping the Philippines in contention for a coveted FIBA Asia Cup quarterfinal slot. After back-to-back heartbreaks to open the tournament, Gilas finally broke the ice in a defensive masterclass, locking down Iraq and refusing to let the game slip away. The PBA's beloved Ginebra import had a quiet scoring night with just 8 points, far from a scorching 28-point average in the first two games against Chinese Taipei and New Zealand, including a jaw-dropping 37 in a narrow loss to the Kiwis. But Brownlee made his presence felt in other ways, tallying 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Stepping up in the scoring column was Dwight Ramos, who lit up the scoreboard with 21 points to spearhead Gilas' charge. Now the focus shifts to Tuesday midnight Manila time against host Saudi Arabia, where Brownlee hopes to reignite his offensive firepower to push Gilas into the quarterfinals. In a heart-pounding gold medal showdown, Kaila Napolis left it all on the mat, pushing South Korea's Im Yeon-ju to the limit before settling for a hard-fought silver in the Chengdu World Games. Kaila Napolis gave the Philippines its first medal in the competition after a thrilling duel with Im Yeon-ju in the women's jiu-jitsu 52-kilogram Newaza finals at the Jianyang Cultural and Sports Center Gymnasium. With the score knotted at 2-2 in the dying seconds, Napolis went for a bold throw to push her opponent out of the mat for the win. But the Korean held her ground and kept a positional advantage that proved to be the deciding factor. From the crowd, teammate Annie Ramirez loudly cheered and gave instructions, but later saw her own campaign end after dropping 2 matches in the 57-kilogram class. However, she still has a chance to redeem herself in the open Newaza category. Meanwhile, at Sancha Lake Tao Huadao Arena, Raf Trinidad narrowly missed out on a bronze medal in the cable men's wakeboard event, a late mistake in his final stunt proving costly. Still, his performance earned cheers from both teammates and the Chinese crowd, showing why he is one of the most exciting figures in extreme water sports. Trinidad finished 4th with 56.60 points, while Frenchman Loic Deschamps dominated with 95 points. Seattle, this isn't just a jersey retirement. This is a city and a legend locking eyes and saying, "We're together forever." Ichiro Suzuki, baseball's global ambassador, the hit machine, the artist with the sweetest bat control you'll ever see, now has his name and his number, 51, locked into Mariners immortality. And let me tell you, when he spoke, this wasn't some cookie-cutter presser. This was emotion. This was heart. He literally put his hand on his chest like he was carrying the weight of 2 decades of memories. From Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season to 3,089 hits. 3,089 hits to that iconic laser arm from right field. Ichiro said it himself.
I'm damn proud to be a Seattle Mariner.
That's not just the coat. And now he's getting a statue in 2026, joining Griffey, Edgar, and Dave Niehaus, frozen forever in that iconic batting stance. And if you know baseball, you know that's sacred ground. Yesterday, he stood on the field looking up at a packed house, not down from same stage at Cooperstown, but up at his people. If you could feel it, you could really feel it. This was home. Here's the thing. Ichiro didn't just play for Seattle. He was Seattle. He made that Mariners logo mean something internationally. He took baseball in Japan and Seattle and wove them into one story. He was the guy who made kids want to slap singles the other way instead of chasing home runs. But here's the part that tells you who Ichiro really is. Even after all the trophies, all the records, all the fame, he's still working for the Mariners. Still in uniform as a special assistant. Still running drills, still passing down what he called the positive to the next generation. In a sport that too often passes down cynicism and pressure, Ichiro is passing down hope. The bottom line is, this wasn't just a ceremony. This was a love letter, a legend telling his city, I went away and I learned that there's no place like home. And the city answering back, welcome home forever. Stop the count. Dylan Cease fired 6 dominant innings and the Padres' all-star bullpen escaped a 7th-inning jam as San Diego powered past Boston 6-2 to take the series. Cease, now 5'10", held the Red Sox to just 3 singles and a walk before a late rally test to defend. Jason Adam and Adrian Morajon came up clutch, slamming the door to preserve the lead. Luis Arraez sparked the offense with a 2-run double. Fernando Tatis Jr. drove in another, and Sander Bogarts added an RBI against his former team. San Diego has now won 11 of their last 14, and they're turning up the heat on the Dodgers in the NL West race. The Padres scored 5 of their 6 runs with 2 outs, showing ice-cold focus in the clutch. Boston's best chance to get back in the game ended with a nasty Morajon strikeout that had the crowd erupting at Petco Park. The Crypto.com arena was electric as the Los Angeles Sparks pulled off a pulse-pounding 93-91 victory over the Seattle Storm. Dearica Hambys delivered a game winner with 5 seconds left, capping off a night where 4 Sparks scored in double figures. Nearly 12,000 fans packed the house, and they were treated to an instant classic. The win pushed Los Angeles to a 15-16 on the season and closed the gap in the Western Conference to just half a game behind Seattle. The Storm came into this one desperate to snap a 4-game losing skid and seeking revenge for that 108-106 heartbreaker earlier this month. But history repeated itself in dramatic fashion. With the game hanging in the balance, Hambys drove hard to the basket, finished through contact, and sank the N1 free throw to put the Sparks ahead. Then, the defense stood tall for the final stop. Kelsey Plum led the Sparks with 20 points. Hambys followed with 19. Azura Stevens also chipped in 19, and Cameron Brink made a huge impact in just 10 minutes with 14 points. For Seattle, Brittany Sykes was a force with 27 points. Dominic Malonga was a double-double machine off the bench with 20 points and 11 boards. Skylar Diggins added 17, and Ineka Ogumike fought hard with 15 points and 10 rebounds. The Western Conference playoff race just got even hotter, and if these two teams meet again, get ready for more fireworks on the court. Atlanta, this is not your regular NBA summer story. You've got a franchise that just went out and had one of the most aggressive off seasons in the league. Kristaps Porzingis for rim protection, Nickeil Alexander-Walker for defensive grit and shooting, Luke Kennard for pure spacing, and you've got Jalen Johnson healthy. You've got a second-year Zachary Risacher ready to make that leap. On paper, this is a team built to finally crash the Eastern Conference's top 4. But here's the part no one in Atlanta wants to admit. The Hawks' most important player, the face of the franchise, Trae Young, is basically on a countdown clock. According to multiple reports, there will be no extension talks this summer. None. Both sides, Young and the Hawks, have already accepted that he's going to play out the final guaranteed year of his contract, then decide next summer on that $49 million player option for 26-27. Translation: Atlanta is walking into the season knowing they could lose their star for nothing. Now, I'm not saying that Trae Young wants out, I'm not saying Atlanta wants to trade him, but let's be real. This league is littered with examples of, we're fine, we're just focusing on this season, turning into, he's gone in a heartbeat. The Hawks' gamble that this roster finally clicks. They make a deep playoff run and Trae decides he wants to ride this thing out in Atlanta. The risk that he opts out, hits the open market, and the Hawks are suddenly left holding a rebuilt roster without the guy it was all built for. And don't forget the Pelicans' unprotected first-round pick in June. If New Orleans stumbles, that could be a top pick in a loaded draft, and it could change Atlanta's whole vision for the future. Which makes you wonder, are they hedging their bets on life after Trae? For Young, this is a massive opportunity disguised as a contract stalemate. He can silence every doubter, lift his team into contender status, and watch his leverage skyrocket, all with a possibility of 29 other teams watching next summer. But here's the thing, Trae Young is not Luka. He's not Fox. He's not one of those stars who just signed an early extension this offseason. He's betting on himself, and the Hawks are betting that they can keep him without putting pen to paper right now. In Atlanta, the next season isn't just about wins and losses. It's about whether Trae Young's jersey is still hanging in State Farm Arena 2 years from now, or whether this was the season the clock ran out. And here's your daily dose of sports lingo. Did you know what the blade is in floorball? The blade is the curved end of the stick used to control or shoot the ball. It's the part that makes precision passes, deadly shots, and smooth dribbles possible. Players can adjust the curve or angle of their blade to suit their style, whether it's for sniper-like accuracy or quick handling in tight spaces. As they say in floorball, she twisted her blade just in time for that perfect assist. So master the blade and you master the game. It's time for our off-court buzzer. A dark cloud has fallen over the boxing world as 2 Japanese fighters lost their lives from brain injuries sustained in separate bouts on the same night at Tokyo's Korakuen Hall. Shigetoshi Kotari, 28 years old, collapsed moments after going the distance in a 12-round draw against OPBF junior lightweight champion Yamato Hata on August 2. He underwent emergency brain surgery for a subdural hematoma, but tragically passed away on Friday. Rest in peace, Shigetoshi Kotari. The World Boxing Organization posted condolences and hailed Kotari as a warrior in the ring, a fighter in spirit who was gone too soon. Now, just 1 day later, the sport was again rocked as fellow boxer, 28-year-old Hiromasa Urakawa, died from the same injury after a knockout loss to Yoji Saito, despite undergoing a craniotomy in a desperate bid to save his life. The Japanese Boxing Commission has announced that all OPBF title fights will be reduced from 12 rounds to 10, a move aimed at preventing similar tragedies. Earlier this year, the boxing world also mourned Irish fighter John Cooney, who died a week after suffering a brain injury in Belfast. Our prayers and condolences to the families and loved ones of these fallen warriors. And that's our roundup for tonight, the 11th of August. When we return, joining us live in the BNC studio is PVL standout setter for the Capital One Solar Spikers, Iris Tolinada. So keep it right here on The Scorecard. Welcome back to The Scorecard. She is one of the PVL's best setters with a passion for winning on the court and the desire to nurture future volleyball talents. Setter, teacher, fighter. Please welcome to the BNC studio, Capital One Solar Spikers setter, Iris Tolenada. Woo! Iris, it's good to see you again.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
so much for the time.
Thank you for having me.
So how are you?
Good. Yeah.
You've been competing for Capital
Yes.
One in the PVL on tour.
Yes.
So how have things been?
Things have been good. We're just working in the gym, trying to do as much as we can to prepare for the next season, and just trying to get our bodies right. And the goal is to get stronger, better, faster. So there you go.
All right. So Iris, guys, is somebody that I've covered since 2016 when she won a championship for Pocari Sweat back then when the PVL was still the Shakey's V-League. So a lot has changed since then. And you've been through a lot of things as well. Represented the national team. You were an import in Korea. And now you are the setter of a team that I would say has a bright future because you had the #1 pick and one of the most promising players in the country, Bella Belen. So tell us about the practices of Capital One, and of course, ang coach nyo is also the national team coach, Coach Jorge.
Yeah, it's been great. I think this coaching staff is really good for this team, especially, you know, you're taking high level, high IQ coaching staff and trying to continue to develop this team that is just so hungry for a win. So we're just working on our skills, our reading, and you know, me being a veteran, an experienced player, playing with girls who are, you know, 10, 11 years younger than I am, it's our job to all kind of combine and see how we can get this team to be successful.
So we had the sisters, the owners of Capital One, Mandy and Milka, here on the show, and they seem very determined to try to transform this team into something incredible. Do you feel like the vibe shifting? As somebody who was part of a team like F2, where it was a star-studded team, former LaSalle players there, Coach Ramil De Jesus, do you feel like the vibe shifting now that slowly but surely the parts are coming in for you to build a competitive roster?
I think so. I think we have a really good foundation, and especially with the, you know, the full support of owners, management, coaches, players, like we're all just trying to get on board. And, you know, our owners, Boss Mandy and Boss Milka, they're so competitive and they're so passionate about this team. And I think it's definitely a bright future ahead. And, you know, we kind of talked about this earlier, but in my opinion, you don't need a super duper star-studded team to be successful. You just need people who want to be in the gym working hard and people who want to, you know, get to that next level together.
All right, Iris, I want to touch on this because you were in the news recently. It was regarding an Instagram exchange between you and former Capital One import Marina Tishova, who, by the way, congratulations. If somehow this gets to her, is going through her pregnancy right now. You were the setter when she scored 45 points in the PVL. So now you have Bella Belen to set the ball to. So what's it been like setting the ball to somebody like Bella?
It's been awesome. You know, the first few practices she came in, all of us were like, oh my God, she's finally here. Let's do this. We're so excited to have her. And, you know, we obviously know what she can do. And being able to set the ball up for someone like her who's just going to go and score, and you know it's going to be, you know, a really an amazing point, or it's going to be a very high IQ point. So it's exciting. I can't wait.
As somebody who is part of history setting the ball to Marina, who scored 45, I want to ask you, Iris, since you will be the one setting the ball to Bella, how many points do you think Bella is going to average in the PVL in her rookie year?
In the PVL, her rookie year? Let's be humble about it. Let's be humble. Let's say she can drop like maybe a 25 to 30 piece. I think. Listen, she scores a lot of points.
Okay, 25 to 30 piece, but average, like let's say throughout the season.
Throughout the season. Let's go 25. Let's aim there.
Wow, okay.
She's gonna get the ball a lot. You know, as an outside spiker, you got a lot of roles to do, and she can do it.
Man, that's exciting. Imagine
she's doing it internationally, so.
Hey, I covered a game with Bella Belen recently, the Star Magic Games, and she scored 20, and she wasn't even trying.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, she wasn't even trying. Naka 20 points in her sleep. Okay, now Iris, tomorrow, exciting times, PVL on tour.
Yes.
We have the semifinals. So let's talk about that, because you played against these teams when you guys were going around. But I want to ask you first, how was the experience of traveling to the Chavit Coliseum? I know it was a long drive, but the fans came out.
Yeah. You know, I actually really love Vegan, and it's a beautiful place, so I was excited to go there. The travel was, you know, crazy. You know, we can't escape that, but it was a beautiful experience. I'm glad we got to interact with the fans a lot more, and we had a lot of support, and the arena was beautiful. The Chavit home was beautiful. Like it was a very cool experience for sure.
Okay, so let's break it down. The first semifinals matchup, #1 ranked PLDT versus #4 ranked Creamline. So obviously, PLDT, they have the LaSalle girls, former
Yes.
LaSalle girls, Kim Fajardo, Mika
Yep.
Reyes, KKD,
Got the
Majoy
OGs.
Baron. Yeah, the OGs still doing it, still very effective. But the odds say that Creamline is still favored. Creamline obviously being
course.
Creamline. How do you think this series is gonna go?
I think it's going to be a really good dogfight. You have PLDT, who's got Kat Arado just controlling the backcourt back there. She's just doing cat things, And then you got Creamline, who's got an established offense throughout the years. And, they play different. They play different in the league. They play fast. They have a lot of veterans being able to do a lot of things. You got Kyle setting the ball. You got Michelle Gumabao just putting it down, So, and then you have, like you said, OG LaSalle girls. You got Taft Towers, KKD, Majoy Baron. They're having a great time. So it's going to be interesting to see ball control versus a really good, solid offense.
All right. Now, I do want you to touch on this because it was in the news, a lot of fans going back and forth with regards to salaries of certain players.
Yeah.
Now, Eliza Valdez, finally, we're happy for her because she seems to be healthy.
Yes.
She's in the top 10 in scoring.
Good.
Now, it was reported in the news that Eliza Valdez is earning 500,000 to 600,000 a month. And then there were haters who were saying that she doesn't deserve it because she's not the same player as she used to be.
Yeah.
But then there were people who supported her saying that what she brings to the table is more than the performance.
Right.
As a professional player, Iris, what do you think should be the basis for a company to invest in a certain player?
Yeah. First of all, I think bashers are bored, so they're just gonna say it. We're just gonna let them have whatever they want to do, whatever they want to have. But as far as value, she's brought so much to this country. Like, she's a veteran. She's brought so much to the UAP. She's made a pathway for a lot of people. So she's part of that generation that started all of this, right? So. Someone who's going to have their value from the beginning and her work ethic, she's going to keep continuing to have that value. So, in my opinion, it's something between her and her, her management, her agent, and the team. But in my opinion, she's valuable. She's always going to be valuable.
So para kay Iris Tolinada, deserve, as the Gen Z people say.
Talaga.
Deserve ni Eliza Valdez. All right, before we move on to the next series, what do you think it's going to come down to? Because this is the first time they're going to be playing against each other in the PVL on tour because PLDT was in Pool A, Creamline was in Pool B. What do you think it's going to come down to?
I think it's going to come down to just... I'm like speechless right now because I'm trying to play the game in my head. It's just very good volleyball against very good volleyball.
And they haven't played against each other
yet. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, PLD2 hasn't lost a game yet, right? Lost a match.
And only dropped one set
there
so
you
far.
go. So it's going to be really a battle of consistency, I would say.
Okay, now let's go to the other series. Number 2 ranked Cignal, Erica Santos, she's been making a name for herself in this PVL on tour. And then of course on the other side, I would say probably a surprise entry because they were the number 6 seed, Cherry Tigo, but they eliminated Nextled in straight sets. Balanced scoring attack there. Jasmine Abor doing a great job as the setter. How do you think this series is gonna go?
Gotta love those knockout rounds, huh? I think this series is gonna go pretty cool. You have Abby Morano leading Cherry Tigo, and she's a great leader, and she'll know what to say and do and how to help lead the team. You have Ara Galang, who's just getting better and better. And, again, Nabor, she's running the offense and having a pretty distributed offense, which is really cool. So, it's just going to be a dogfight of who's going to score more and who's just going to control the ball more, control the offense more, I would say.
Now, Iris, Capital One was also in Pool B, so you got to play against these two teams. You've talked about Jasmine Abor, but I don't think even in my previous interviews I've asked you about Jel Cayuna. What's it like playing with her, knowing that you guys play the same position? How do you prepare against a player like that who I feel has been playing excellent volleyball as of late?
For sure. She's such a baller, like just a great athlete. She's fast, she's quick, she's got really good hands, and she's a great server. As a setter, it's really important to be a great server. So she scores a lot of points, and she's offensive, very offensive. So, in terms of dumping, great gal. But yeah, I think she's gonna run her offense well as always.
All right, so it should be very exciting tomorrow. PVL on tour, but it's back here at the Araneta Coliseum. I'm sure all the volleyball fans will be tuned in. But before we let you go, Iris, the next PVL season. For Capital One, Bella Belen finally going to be able to play. For your fans, what is your message? What can we expect from Capital One having the #1 pick, and now you're preparing every day for the upcoming PVL season?
My message to the fans would be to just keep supporting us and to, oh my gosh, how funny. And we're going to get a win, guys. Just keep believing and keep having faith in us and our team. And we are very appreciative and love all of you.
Wait, hold on. Okay, your friends
My
are
dog,
here.
yes!
Brooke has been here.
this.
MG has been here.
That's right. We're Sunny's entourage. That's my dog, Sunny.
Okay.
She's a rescue dog. And she just honestly brings literal light to my life.
Aww.
She's awesome.
Sunny, I can't wait for you to be home. I'm sure.
Same. Shout out to Biaya Animal Rescue.
All right, Iris Tolinada here on the Scorecard. Iris, thank you so much for the time and sharing your thoughts and analysis. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Iris Tolinada, looking forward to her with the Capital One Solar Spikers in the upcoming PBL season. Thank you so much, Iris.
Thank you.
Up next, win and you're in. Lose and it's lights out. Dwight Ramos is grinding. Justin Brownlee is still balling like a legend. But Saudi Arabia is bringing their best punch. Midnight is the moment. Quarterfinal spot on the line. Who steps up when it matters most? We're about to find out, so you can keep your eyes on the prize.
I'm Paulo Danzan.
I'm Ann Asis Carrillo.
As you begin your day, be updated with the latest news and conversations.
Keep it easy and keep it cool.
Choose joy and spread love and kindness.
Simulcast in Mellow 94.7. Best friend mo, tune in to your daily dose of good fun.
Welcome back to the Scorecard. It's time to keep your eyes on the prize. Eto na, guys. It's finally gonna be here. The knockout game, midnight tip-off. Gilas Pilipinas versus Saudi Arabia for a ticket to the quarterfinals of the 2025 FIBA Asia Cup. You can feel the tension in the air like we've been holding our collective breaths since the opening game. Now, this has not been the smoothest ride, as you can see. Well, let's be honest. We dropped the first two games, and it felt like the bus had a flat tire. And then, boom! August 9, win on the board. And Dwight Ramos, the TCL player of the game, putting in the kind of effort that makes you check the box score twice. Now, Dwight is logging in 32.7 minutes per game. That's the most on the team. And aside from Justin Brownlee, he's actually the only Gilas player scoring in double digits. Now, speaking of Justin Brownlee, as we see Dwight Ramos' numbers in the tournament, Brownlee may be 37 years old and still out there playing like it's a barangay league where pride's on the line. This is vintage Noipi stuff. Here's the reality. This is Justin Brownlee and Dwight. They've been carrying over half of Gilas' offense, 50.2% of the total points in the tournament so far. That's 40 of the team's 79.7 per game in the prelims, which means if we're gonna keep dancing in this tournament, the rest of the roster, they have got to show up. No passengers tonight. Okay? So, eto yung sinasabi ko kanina. Ito yung puntos ng Gilas, puntos ni Brownlee, puntos ni Ramos. Only two Gilas players scoring in double digits, but the rest of the team, ayan lang ang nabibigay. So if we're going to look at the percentages, halos kalahati ng puntos ng Gilas nanggagaling kay Justin at kay Dwight. So the rest of the team, kailangan mas lumaki pa to para matulungan etong dalawang manlalaro natin na si Brownlee at si Ramos. Ngayon naman, let's talk about our opponents. Because history is on our side. Okay? Alam kong host team itong Saudi Arabia. But Gilas is 3-0 all-time in FIBA tournaments against Saudi Arabia. The last time this team met, November 2022. We won 76-63 in Jeddah. Now, here's the warning label. This team has two guys who can put us in trouble quick if we let them loose. So, let's take a look at the two guys, the rulers of the kingdom. Ito yung kailangan bantayan ng mga players natin from Gilas, okay? So, you have Muhammad Ali Abdur Rahman and Muhammad Alsu Wailem. Yan ang kanilang mga numbers. So, yeah. The path is simple. Contain this duo. Force the others to beat you. You do that, and we're probably looking at Australia in the quarterfinals. That's what we are hoping for. That's what we are praying for. It's win or go home. It's midnight basketball. Walang tulugan. It's Laban Pilipinas. Stay locked in as the road to the FIBA Asia Cup quarterfinals hits sudden death mode. Again, win or go home po ito para sa Gilas Pilipinas kontra Saudi Arabia. Midnight can't come soon enough. Here's the breakdown. And that's the setup for tonight's knockout. Gilas fighting for survival, Saudi Arabia trying to play spoiler. Two teams, one court, 40 minutes to decide it all. Midnight in Manila. The stage is set. The pressure is real. So lock in, and as always, keep your eyes on the prize. Before we go, think on this. From a young prodigy in Japan who became one of baseball's most iconic hitters, known for his precision, discipline, and unmatched consistency, who broke records on 2 continents and earned his place among the game's immortals, Ichiro Suzuki once said, "If you consistently do the little things, there's no limit to what you can achieve." And with that, thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow on the Scorecard, where sports is our business and business is our sport on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. This has been Anton Roxas. Have a blessed evening, everybody. Good night and go Gilas.